This is Soundoff1230.
I want to make sure that the best team is the champion.
Yeah.
I want to play.
And that's key.
If that tournament comes up with this is the best team, I'm for that.
Southwest Louisiana's premier sports talk television show.
With me?
Hey.
Without me? All
That
right.
might be the dumbest argument we've ever had.
You
I
are
like
the
the way he
most
does that.
idiotic imbecile if you thought that argument did not have merit. Look, did not.
All right,
McCarron.
So you're talking about my LSU quarterback?
Yeah.
Which you put
With me, without me.
Soundoff1230 is presented by Tarver Ford in Sulphur. Give us a chance to earn your business. And by Jack Daniel's Bar and Grill at Lauberge Casino Resort. Here are the boys, Rick, Scooter, and Kevin.
Boys and girls, welcome to Holiday Week Show Part 2. We got through Christmas, now we're into New Year's. We're minus two of the knuckleheads. That would be Kevin Guidry, Scooter Hobbs, and we have
two more knuckleheads.
Two more knuckleheads. Two newbies. Seth Lewis from KPLC TV, Jim Gazzola from the American Press. Guys, welcome. Glad to have you aboard for our New Year's Eve show, if you will. Holiday Week Part 2, as I said earlier. Let's get some groundwork done here. Start on the far end. KPLC, give us a brief, like where you're from, how'd you get here? Because you've been on Channel 7 roughly about 2 years now.
Well, no, it's about a year now.
Oh, just a year?
Just,
Oh my
just
God,
about
you're
a
still
year.
a rookie.
Yeah, I'm still a rookie. I started January 4th, but I'm from South Louisiana, to be honest. Originally from New Orleans. Moved to Opelousas due to Hurricane Katrina, and then graduated from LSU. So I've traveled all of I-10 pretty much.
Oh, so that's why you're tight with Guidry. I got that purple and gold.
We got the
running through
purple
your
and gold
veins. Is that
connection,
right?
exactly.
Oh, okay. Jeez. All right, so let's see, Jen. So you're running up on your 1 year anniversary at KPLC.
That is correct.
Okay, all right, and basically you're hoping to get to a 2nd year anniversary. With Channel 7, you never know, right?
I'm hoping. I'm crossing my fingers.
Just kidding. Jeez. All right, Jim. All right, managing sports editor.
Yes.
Hobbs, executive sports editor. Hickey, co-sports editor.
No.
Oh, you guys got titles. I mean,
No,
what's going on?
there's no Hickey.
Okay, all
No
right.
title for Hickey.
No title.
Oh, we aren't gonna do that.
He wears the hat, though. He wears the good-looking
Simply put, is for better or worse, Scooter is the face of the newspaper.
Yes.
And I would be the day-to-day operations guy.
Okay.
I've been there 4 years. Came from Los Angeles.
Well, that's a
Strangely
culture
enough. Yes,
shock.
it is. I would guess I was semi-retired. I had done the Lakers primarily for the last 20 years. Wife got a job here. Told her I didn't want to travel anymore, so we moved here. Didn't think
to LA.
I guess.
I'm sure you heard that before.
Yes.
It's not on your.
Did not think I'd be back in the business that quickly. So
Yeah. Well, we won't get into it, but the newspaper business is tough. It's
It
going
is
through a
tough.
lot of changes. So.
Gone through a lot of changes. The culture shock was probably more for my kids than me.
Yeah.
But they've adjusted now.
Okay. All right, guys. Look, I'm just quoting them. All right, two new knuckleheads. We're gonna have a lot of fun. You guys have seen the show. You know how it works. I'm very confrontational, so get ready.
All right.
All right. I've read a lot of your stuff. I've even made comments on this show that I probably disagree with. Oh, it's safe to say 96.7% of everything you've written.
That's all right.
Pretty much. But that's what makes this fun. All right, guys, look, let's start off with the black and gold. I bleed black and gold. There's no secret about that. Look, what has perturbed me for the last 3 weeks okay, they're in. Oh, we understand that.
Right.
But it just chaps my rear end when I got to look at a headline or I got to see it through the coverage that the Carolina Panthers are the NFC South and they got the number 2 seed in the bye. I'm sorry. I'm just not satisfied with just getting in because that's all they had to do was win at Carolina and then win the week before, and they win and they got the number 2
Well,
seed.
five weeks ago, let's go back 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
5 weeks ago, they're playing for the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
They're playing essentially for an easy road to the Super Bowl if
Yeah.
there could be one.
Right.
And since then,
And that would be what game?
that would be the
Refresh-
Seattle game.
Well, all right, well,
But that
Tough game.
if you're going to have to win on the road,
Yeah.
it's easier to win on the road in the regular season
Right.
than the postseason.
Right.
Now you've got to win on the road 3 times.
Yeah.
You essentially have to go Philadelphia, probably Seattle,
Right.
and then probably San Francisco. 3 of the toughest teams you can play right now.
Right.
They don't go in hot, losing 3 out of 5.
Right.
They don't go in with a good road record.
oh no.
It is as tough a challenge as they're going to have.
And it's really amazing, you know, he brought it up. They were 9-2 going into that Seattle game.
Right.
And you knew the Seattle game was kind of a toss-up because it was in Seattle, because they have that great crowd, the 12th man. You kind of maybe expected them to lose that game to go to 9-3. But when they beat Carolina in the Dome, they knew what they had to do when they went to St. Louis. If they won that game, the Carolina game kind of was rendered. I mean, it was a win-lose, whatever happens. If you win that Tampa Bay game, if you win the St. Louis game, then you have that number 2 seed. And they went up to St. Louis and laid an egg. I heard some people call it the worst game in Sean Payton's era. And that's really the story of their season, just not winning on the road. 8-0 at home, 3-5 on the road.
That is the defining moment of their season, is the St. Louis game.
Yeah.
It is almost as if they said, they took a step back and said, we lost in Seattle, we're not going to be able to go back, and they lost some mental focus.
Right. And, you know, the way I look at it is, look, road game at St. Louis, not a loud crowd. Obviously, that was not a fact. And they're on a fast track. If you can't win in the Dome in St. Louis on the road, then you're not going to win on the road. Everything pointed in their favor, and they didn't get it done.
But they did face a good coach with a track record of good defense, and there is a blueprint to beat them. And Seattle showed the blueprint to beat them. And St. Louis just matched up well enough. One mistake led to two. They never got out of their own way, and they have to suffer the consequences of being the 6th seed.
And you could argue honestly that St. Louis probably has the best front four in the league possibly, especially with Quinn. Quinn is probably the best pass rusher in the league. There's been talk of him being the defensive MVP, and that's one of the weaknesses on this team, especially after they lost Jermon Bushrod in the offseason. You know, they had to replace that left tackle.
And if Seattle didn't expose their offensive line, clearly the Rams did.
And you know, look, Peyton made the move with putting Brown on the bench and starting the rookie, and that's all fine and dandy. All right, let's fast forward to yesterday in the Dome. I mean, when Breeze is good, he's very good.
Yes.
I mentioned a couple weeks ago, even though the other two guys thought I was crazy, you know, he has a lot of brain farts. Breeze you can scratch your head on some throws that Drew Brees tries to sneak in there. He really does.
He does look like a guy who feels like he has to make every throw down.
There you go.
And when you don't have a defense that can consistently stop people, and when you don't have a running game to back you up,
they are much improved.
They're much improved, but they're a different defense. Let's face it, they're a defense that now attacks. So it's going to be a quick, it's almost as if they're saying, we're either going to get you right away or you're going to get us.
Right.
Which you have to play when you have that talent.
Right.
There's no other way Rob Ryan can play with that talent.
Right.
They can't sit back because somebody will run it down their throat 15 plays. So they try to make something happen, or you're going to get beat and say, we're going to give the ball back to Breeze. So he probably feels like he has to make every throw.
Now, see, I kind of feel indifferent about that because maybe last year the trust was severely lost. I mean, it was the worst defense in history. But this defense performed throughout the year. 15 out of 16 games, in my opinion, they showed up. Yes, you can argue maybe the New York Jets game and maybe one other game, but I think even in those games, turnovers in those games gave the defense extra possessions. And when you're facing a team that has a Chris Ivory or a bruising back that could kind of wear you down, those extra possessions usually gets to a defense. Other than that, like I said, statistically, I think they had the 4th best defense in the league this year.
They're much improved. But they are a defense that has to make plays. They cannot sit there and stop you like the old Tampa 2s would do.
Right.
And he wants to go out and make plays. So that therefore it's going to be a game of how many possessions. And can you get enough turnovers to stop possessions? Or are you going to give up the one play? The problem with that is the 2 times they've lost at the wire in New England and then in Carolina is they were both blitzing to do that fact.
Right. I was at the New England game. What was the common theme? First down, you win the game. Carolina, first down, you win the game. How many times over the course since 1967? You weren't even born then. That's our generation.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's just time and time and time again. One first down, and you can win.
But that's where you have to get an offensive line that can run the ball for 3 plays to get the first down.
But some of the calls by Sean Payton were curious indeed.
And my
he kind of put his hands in his pocket.
Well, that's the thing is, if you're going to trust Drew Brees with your season, then you have to be able to trust him in that situation too.
I agree with that. If you pay a quarterback $100 million, you have to put the ball in his hands to get that first down. Because Mark Ingram and Pierre Thomas do not.
You're the first one to bring up $100 million. Okay, you're just like a fan. You're gonna pay him $100 million. He's supposed to cure all. I know how much they're paying him. You're not questioning his worth at $100 million. But you're right. He's your $100 million man. Trust him. Let him make a play. And
you're going to have to if you're going to pay him.
If he screws it up,
you're going to pay him. Otherwise, don't pay him as much and pay your defense.
Exactly.
All right, hold that thought. We're going to get on the Saints and the Philadelphia Eagle matchup because how curious I was. We'll get into it in the next segment. I don't know about you guys, but I'm telling you, first time in the history of my being I rooted for the Dallas Cowboys because I did not want to see the New Orleans Saints either having to go to Green Bay or Philadelphia. The Cowboys scorn again. We're cursed by the Dallas Cowboys. All right, we're going to take a 2.5 minutes break. Seth, Jim, Sarah, young guy, and older guy. We're coming right back in about 2.5 here to Jack Daniels. Stay right here.
Soundoff 60 is brought to you by Tarver Ford in Sulphur. Give us a chance to earn your business. And by Jack Daniels Bar and Grill at Lauberge Casino Resort.
Philip, you guys have been here for 4 years. Why is Tarver Ford doing so well?
Judge, we have a great team with a great passion to win every customer that gives us a chance. Our people are enthusiastic and prepared, our inventory is busted at the seams, and we're discounting prices and giving good money for trades to make deals happen.
Well, it must be working because I see the blue Tarver Ford tags everywhere. But how do you keep customers?
We want customers for life. So at Tarver Ford, every new vehicle includes complimentary lifetime oil changes.
Let us show you how a great team serves its customers a first-class experience.
At Tarver Ford, exit 21, Sulphur.
If you've got your crew in Miller Lite, you've got Miller time.
Hey, can we get a round of Miller Lite?
Sorry, just ran out. Something else?
Come on. Really?
But what if one of your crew is Chuck Liddell?
Hello. Hey. We don't have a reservation. Right this way. Welcome. Welcome. Sure wish we could play. Here you go. Here. Thank you. Thanks. We'd like to use flash photography.
That's not a problem.
We'd like to ride a dolphin. We'd love to stay closer.
It's not just a good time, it's Miller time.
Dr. Casio was my choice.
Dr. Casio is my choice.
Dr. Casio was my choice.
Dr. Brett Casio is fellowship trained and board certified in both orthopedics and sports medicine. He has the tools, techniques, and experience to get athletes back on the field of play. Call 337-494-4900.
Dr. Brent Casio is the official sports medicine physician of Soundoff 60. All right, welcome back to the show here at Jack Daniels at Lauberge Casino. I want to remind you, New Year's Eve, that would be coming up, right, guys?
It would be.
When it would be? That would be tomorrow night?
Tomorrow
if
night.
If you're watching the show on a Monday night, if you're seeing the tape replay and rebroadcast, well, you maybe already have enjoyed Christmas Eve. Not Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve. Bring in the new year here at Jack Daniels. They got the DJ spinning all the great records. And is that, they still call them records? Or is it disc?
Spinning the discs.
What do they call it? You're young. What's it?
Just playing good music, I guess.
Spinning the music. Yeah. Whatever it may be. It's a big. I've been here before. I've been here maybe 2 years in a row for New Year's Eve at Jack Daniels, and it's a great time. So it's a big party. So come on out, make your plans. Jack Daniels for New Year's Eve for Bring In 2014. You cannot beat it. All right, guys, we're still on the Saints. We're going to round it up in regards to encompass some of the NFL. All right, so they got to go to Philadelphia. We'll get to that in a minute. The Dallas Cowboys, I thought they had it. I mean, they win, they beat Philadelphia, they win the East, and then Saints go to Dallas, they play in a quasi-dome, we got mild temps, we got a fast track.
They score 40 points.
Score 40 points, we've beaten up on the Cowboys, I don't know how many times in the last couple, it was all set up. I mean, it was just there. Well, they have 2 minutes in the game, 20, 25-yard line, Orton, bam, 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 they got a field goal, they win the game.
He became Tony Romo.
That's
all you can say. He became Tony Romo.
It's mind-boggling.
He threw a
mind-boggling
secondary pass, and he, just like Romo did in a couple of games, he threw behind the receiver. He made the right read, threw the wrong pass. It's that simple.
And I saw a picture on, I think on Twitter where it said it had like Tony Romo and Kyle Orton standing next to each other, and it says, "I taught you well."
Oh my God!
And it's just the story of the Cowboys. If you're a Cowboys fan, you got your ups and downs, but then they pick you up to maybe make you believe that they could make a run or get in the playoffs or whatever, just to let you down.
Give them credit for the kind of varied offense that Kelly brings in with the Eagles and the weapons they have. they were damn good. That's a
That was
lousy
their best
defense.
That was their best defense.
It really was. I was shocked that they were staying in the game with a backup quarterback.
They did everything right
They
except
did.
win the game.
They
But
did.
That's the way they are at the end of the year. They do everything right, but win the game.
But win the game.
Did everything right against Denver, but win the game.
Win the game.
They're what?
It doesn't matter if you don't win the game.
4th straight play-in for a playoff,
And a fourth
maybe
loss.
3rd or 4th, and they lost every one of them.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
They've lost to everybody in their division in a play-in game.
And
they're equal opportunity chokers. They'll choke
I mean,
on everybody.
Look, Jerry Jones. Jerry,
He's the problem.
Well, say what you want to say about Jerry Jones. Okay, but you got to feel for the guy. Now, he's part of the problem, but you got to feel for what he's been through.
I don't feel for Jerry Jones because he should realize he's the only owner, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's the only owner out of 32 teams that's the general manager
That
as well.
makes himself the general manager. There's some other guys that meddle. But yeah, he's the only one that makes all the calls. And that's his team.
And that's his team. So
his defense is bad because he pays his offense. He is a guy. He's like a fantasy league fan to me. He really is. I'm going to spend all this money on guys that I love to watch play football, and at the end of the day, I've got nobody to stop the run.
Right.
But because that's not fantasy numbers.
Right.
And to
that's
me,
what he is.
I feel worse, I guess, for Tony Romo. Obviously, he's hurt, but I feel like even though he makes a lot of bad late game decisions, a lot of times he's the reason they're in the game in the first place.
No, he's a very good quarterback.
Right.
I don't know if I'd put him in the excellent mode.
No, he's
got
good,
some numbers that may borderline, but he's a good
I feel bad for the Dallas Cowboy fan that buys into the media saying they're a good football team.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not. They're an
They're
8-8
not.
football team every year.
Right.
They have been,
That's what they're going to be next year, unless they make changes. That's what they were last year. That's what they're going to be for the near future until they make changes.
Yeah, 136 and 136.
Yeah.
Since 1997 or 98.
97.
That's the epitome of mediocrity.
That's consistency.
I mean, you're right. All right, so they don't help the Saints out. Now the Saints got to go to Philadelphia.
The Saints haven't helped themselves out. So
Right.
they got to go to Philadelphia where it's supposed to be cold but not wet.
Not snowing.
Boy, well, what was it, Detroit game?
Yes.
Well,
And where you couldn't even see
That was
it.
unbelievable.
Yes.
24 degrees, light wind.
Okay, all right. Look, guys, I've been following the Saints since 1967. I mean, but last week, when they lost to Carolina and how they lost, I mean, I took off my rose-colored glasses, and I know I have a tendency to do that. But this team has not proven to me that they can do it on the road.
No.
And I know that no. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but you see, you got to understand where I'm coming from. I'm kind of blinded, and I say they can do it. They can do it. They'll do it. They have a pretty good road record, though. Under Peyton, they got a pretty good road record. But in big games, and this year, the glasses came off.
What is their record in games that matter on the road? And that's what really counts. It's great to meet up on Tampa Bay every year on the road.
Games that matter, I don't know. You may know. It's
Chicago.
It's well under 500.
Right.
It's well under 500.
And Chicago ended up being a 500 team.
Right.
So that's your problem is that they're built for the dome, and they're not built for playoffs. It's a different world to go to Carolina in September than it is in December.
Right.
It's a different game without wind. It's a different game when you're playing without the cold. It's a different game when you're on a fast track. Everything slows down and becomes a power game in football. That's why you see the power teams generally win the Super Bowl. The Ravens get there against the 49ers last year. The two most dominant defenses probably got there.
Right.
Where was Denver? They were long gone.
And to his point, it's two things that travel in the playoffs. It's defense and it's a run game.
Yeah.
And consistently, for the most part, when you look at the Super Bowl and the teams in the Super Bowl, generally the teams in the Super Bowl have great defenses or pretty good defenses and a consistent enough running game to get them first downs when they need them.
It's getting the one first down with 4 minutes left to kill the clock.
Right.
It's stopping that first down to be able to get the ball back for your offense when you have to kick a field goal to win. It's the ability to make one play. Really, all you're talking about is one or two plays at the end of a game.
Yeah, I'm not totally buying into it because if my mind was quick enough, I could probably sit here and come up with examples of teams that win it with a high power.
The Saints themselves.
The Saints themselves, the Rams, and the greatest show on turf kind of thing. But what I will agree with you on is that it's clear. I mean, you got to have really your blinders on. This is a Saints team with an offense that if they're in the dome and they're comfortable, I don't buy into all that. Well, I know it's difficult to travel and eat the food and the hotel, that kind of thing. But once you get to the stadium, a dome is a dome, fast track is a fast track. When they're on a fast track, I have to think that their timing is better. To me, it's all timing. I really do think the Saints, in regards to how Breeze is, now I know he can extend a play or two or something like that, but it's all timing. When they get on a slower track, be it natural turf or weather, all of a sudden their timing gets off. You said something about Seattle showed it, how to be. I think maybe New England did it too.
Maybe.
Holding up the receivers at the line.
When
you throw them off their routes.
You physically play their receivers,
Yes.
try to take Jimmy Graham away by double teaming,
Right.
and take away the screen pass.
Yep.
They don't have a running game. The screen pass is their running game.
They have a running game.
I don't buy it.
They have a running game.
Well, then I haven't seen enough of it.
They have a running game.
If you want to say that the short passes and the screen game is
That
a
is a
substitute for the running
extension for
game,
it.
that's an extension of the running game. But they're in the bottom 10 in rushing, like actual, getting carries in the game.
What's a good number for the Saints? They got almost 100 yards yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, and Breeze was hot. And he's throwing the ball over the. What's a good for Philadelphia? 150, 120 yards rushing.
40 in the fourth.
Right.
40 in the fourth.
When
and
it
the game's
matters.
on the line.
40 yards. You want them to run the ball 40 yards in the fourth quarter, and then they
35 to
win.
40 yards. That's three.
And they're gonna win the game
that's
if they
three
do it.
first downs.
They're gonna win the
If you're
game?
in the game, that's 3 first downs.
Are they going to win the game if they
No,
run?
they're not going to win the game anyway.
All
They're not going to win the game anyway because they're not going to be within the touchdown.
Save that for later on in the show. We'll get some predictions. All right, we got more NFL to talk about. Black Monday, we got LSU. LSU is going to be at the Outback Bowl. Does anybody care?
For the LSU fans, you want to go to Tampa for the weekend?
All right,
Yeah, fine.
we'll get on the LSU Tigers and the McNeese Cowboys. Coming back when we come back in about 2.5 to Jack Daniels. Stay right here.
Soundoff 60 is presented by Jack Daniels Bar and Grill at Lauberge Casino Resort and by Tarver Ford, Douglas Parkway in Sulphur.
Get your free American Press app today. It's all at your fingertips. News, sports, advertising, entertainment, and video delivered through your Apple or Android mobile device. Capture the informative power of the American Press, Southwest Louisiana's premier source for news and advertising. Get your American Press app today. Download it for free through your iTunes or App Store. You'll love the look and feel of our newest digital offering. The app flawlessly delivers the local news most important to you in a new, striking layout. Get your American Press app today.
Choosing your doctors and healthcare professionals is an important and personal decision, and one that you should feel totally comfortable with. Hello, I'm Dr. Trisa Guidry, and I'd like to welcome you to our clinic, where your health and well-being is our top priority. I'm a board-certified OBGYN and a graduate of LSU. My dedicated staff and I would like to invite you to call for a consultation and appointment. You will experience the trust, comfort, and medical treatment you deserve. We are Dr. Trisa Guidry.
All right, welcome back to Jack Daniels here at Lauberge Casino. That would be Seth Lewis, Jim Gazzolo from the American Press in the middle, Rick Serro here, Seth Lewis from KPLC. You are the first KPLC guy that we've ever had on the show.
Well, I feel honored.
Current, beside myself. I used to be there eons. Let me ask you this. At one time, okay, they had my what do you call it? My goodbye, my last script of my goodbye show from, I won't even say when. They had it on the wall in the newsroom. And they had like a, some, what do you call that stuff? Like garland around it. I mean, is it still there?
It may be like way in the back,
in the
kind
closet
of storage.
somewhere.
Yeah,
storage, right?
I think I saw it possibly going back there in storage, but it's not like out on display. But if you look deep enough, I think you can find it.
Draped in black, or
it was like in a box.
Yeah, see, that's all those young guys. No respect for their elders. No respect for the elders.
No.
Unbelievable. All right, guys, glad to have you aboard. We're having a lot of fun. We've covered, I guess, it would take us the whole show to cover the whole gamut with the Saints this year.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, and the Dallas Cowboys and the curse. I call it, they're just cursed. They're just cursed. The Jerry Jones curse. I don't know what it is. All right, let's talk about LSU. Outback Bowl in Tampa. That's where Kevin Guidry, Scooter Hobbs are having fun in Tampa for the Outback Bowl against Iowa Hawkeyes. So, Iowa 8-4, LSU 9-3. I mean, it's a New Year's Day bowl. I don't know if it has that much pizzazz.
No, it doesn't. It's an early New Year's Day bowl. It's get up and take up some time before the real bowl games start.
Yeah.
It's an interesting game because Iowa, not many people know much about them. Good defense. a hot coach at times for pro jobs.
Yeah.
We've heard about LSU.
For the last 10 years, the guy's been going to the NFL.
And you got Les Miles with, what is he going to pull out of his hat to try to make things interesting in this game?
Yeah.
You never know. What I always say is it all depends on what team wants to show up.
Yeah.
If LSU wants to be there, fine, they'll win. If they don't, they won't probably. I mean, that's really what bowl games are about. Who wants to be there?
LSU grad, you probably know the stats better than me. Are they like 0-3 in the last bowls?
They are 0-2 in their last bowls because they lost the national championship and they lost to Clemson, but they won the Cotton Bowl the year before against Texas.
So they're 0-2 going into this.
They're going 0-2 going into.
This is a big game for them for the simple fact that they want to get 10 wins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to get 10 wins. You don't want to lose 3 bowl games in a row going into a recruiting year.
No.
And you want to stay relevant. If you end up at 9-5.
Yeah.
You end up 9-5. Suddenly you're back in the pack.
Right.
And you're losing ground to the Mississippi States and the Ole Misses that may win their bowl games. You don't want to fall behind not only Auburn, Alabama, but you don't want to start falling behind Mississippi State, Mississippi. I mean that and Texas A&M in your own division.
And it's such a big recruiting year in Louisiana with some of the top recruits. I know they had Louisiana had the most guys on the All-American team as far as high school goes, including Barb's, Trey Quinn. But you brought it up a little bit about Iowa. They're not really I guess the sexiest pick in the world. And looking at their record, they lost a team that actually McNeese lost to, which was Northern Iowa, early in the season for the first game. And then the other games that they lost were to
Northern Illinois too, which is a non-traditional skill power.
Yeah.
So they've had bad losses.
Well, matter of fact, that might be the NIU I'm speaking of. Then it probably is Northern Illinois.
I think they lost to Northern Iowa too, though. I would have to check that, but I know they lost to Northern Illinois.
But their other losses in the season were to teams that were the top in the Big Ten. They lost to Ohio State. They lost to Michigan State. They lost to Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a matter of what he says. Does LSU look at that and say, we could blow by this team? Because that's what they did with Clemson last year. I mean, they had a chance to win that game, -1 yards, rushing in the fourth quarter.
Well, the man wants to run the football for every moment of his life until it comes down to winning a football game by picking up 1.5 yards. So then he doesn't want to do it all of a sudden.
And so it's just a matter of if LSU takes this game serious with Iowa. If they do, then they can win by 20 points. If they don't, then it'll be another disappointing trip back.
Well, Mettenberger out. You got a freshman quarterback in Anthony Jennings. He showed some chutzpah against Arkansas with the 99-yard miracle dream drive. I called it. That's an
impressive drive.
Impressive. He's a freshman. He's back there to win a game. They shouldn't really have been in this.
That was an impressive performance. It shows what he's capable of doing. But one of the biggest questions always is how much do the guys who are going to turn pro buy into the game? Are they thinking about winning the football game, or are they thinking about not getting hurt because there's millions of dollars on the line?
Clowney at South Carolina. Great specimen, going to be a great pro. I'm convinced. I have no clue what's going on, but I got to think that he
mailed it in.
He played it safe.
He basically didn't. And that you're talking about. No, you can't.
He's number one pick.
You're talking about millions of dollars.
$25 million.
But now look what it cost him. He won't be the number one pick this year.
He'll probably be Teddy Bridgewater.
I don't think he will be. I think he'll see.
Oh, well, that's another show. Clowney not the number one pick?
I do not think he'll be the number one pick because I think
who's
Teddy Bridgewater. I think you're going to see.
Oh, no.
The Texans are not
Bridgewater.
The Texans are not taking a defensive lineman.
No,
they have to take a quarterback.
They have to take a quarterback.
They have to get a face of a franchise.
And you think it's Bridgewater?
They took Mario Williams. You see what they got them.
I'm not saying they're taking Bridgewater. They're taking the best quarterback on their number.
We're getting off on a tangent here, but trade, make a deal, package some guys, get some three people, and maybe you trade the number one.
Maybe, but who are you going to trade to? I think you need a face of your franchise.
You're talking about the Texans now.
Texans,
look, Schaub went into the toilet. I mean, his head is, now Bill O'Brien supposedly is ready to sign. Interesting.
And he's a quarterback guru coach.
Yeah, and I kind of thought he was maybe funneling toward the University of Texas. I don't know. Maybe I thought he was going there. But anyway, I think you're wrong. I think Clowney, all the stuff on the road, the speeding, that's just being stupid. I think this guy. I think he's the number one.
I don't know if Clowney puts butts in the seats.
That's what I think you're looking at. You've got to put butts in the seat. I think they know they made a mistake. by not going Vince Young, hometown guy, to be your face of your franchise.
Right.
I don't think they make that mistake again.
Right. We'll see. Well, I don't know, it's Teddy Bridgewater. All right. FCS National Championship. All right, it's coming up January 4th. It'll be Saturday, I guess.
It'll be Saturday.
In Frisco, it's North Dakota State taking on Towson. Am I saying it right?
Towson.
Where are you from, by the way? You're a Big
I'm
Ten
from
guy.
Chicago.
Chicago.
I'm a Big Ten
You're a
guy.
Midwestern guy. You're always spouting off about the Big Ten, this Big Ten. that.
Spouting.
You're a spouter. You're a spouter. Huh? The SEC sucks. Big Ten.
I didn't say SEC sucks. I said when
You say the SEC's overrated.
I said it's rated. Okay, we can get into that.
You say it's
SEC to me
overrated.
It is the best football conference. No doubt.
Wait, repeat that.
It's the best football conference. I've said
Okay.
that many times. It is not heads and tails above everybody in the world. It is a product of two things. One,
How many national championships in a row, Seth? How many of the SEC has gone? Is it 7?
7 in a row.
Okay, go ahead.
and I'll say this again.
Go
How many
ahead.
have been won during a 3-game playoff? How many have elevated a team with one loss over other teams with one loss that may be just as good? Are you going to tell me you're for sure the two best teams are always playing in the national championship game?
No.
There you
We're
go.
on the same side in regards to playoff.
I want a 16-team playoff.
How much?
I want a
Oh, you're
16
crazy.
team.
You're crazy. Eight.
I'll take 8.
I'll take 8 too. All right. So you said you said here the SEC is overrated. Did you say that?
No, I said that the
What? Am I putting words in your mouth?
I said it's the best conference,
All right.
but it's not as separated as much as everybody else.
And
thinks
who
it
would be who's next in line in power? Who's next in line?
is. I would say the Pac-12.
All right, I agree with that. We agree.
I agree with that too.
We agree.
After the SEC is
But
the
I
Pac-12.
don't think the separation is great. I think the separation is somewhat of a media hype. The problem with the Big Ten and Pac-12 is they're pro conferences, whereas everybody in the Big Ten goes to the pro teams. Where the SEC, the pro teams they get the attention down here.
Right.
And that's why you get bigger hype. Alabama is it for Alabama. Michigan there's still more interest in Detroit because of the pro team, because of the pro cities.
I'll disagree with you in the sense that you win 7 national championships.
Yeah, that's
I think
impressive.
there is a pretty big gap between
That's
the
impressive.
SEC and everybody
And
else.
that's
especially your Big Ten.
Well, the Big Ten
Come on.
become a basketball conference. It's a part of the Rust Belt. Everybody wants out.
All right.
You're not going to get a kid to play in 30 below weather where they can play in the nice weather.
Got Urban
Why would
Meyer.
you?
Urban Meyer's supposed to be the second coming. What do you
Well,
got?
he's going.
Well, it's just like you said, when you win 7 in a row, it's obvious the SEC is on top. But the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, they deserve to be in the conversation as well. So
They've won a championship with 2 losses. You shouldn't be in the
Pac-10,
championship.
Big 12. You can't put the Big Ten above the Big 12.
No.
Huh?
No.
Okay, I'm just making. I'm
I'm not sure the Big Ten's above the ACC.
Well, especially with Florida State up against the clock. What do we got? We didn't get on the FCS. We got sidetracked again. All right, we're going to talk about the McNeese Cowboys. I want to get some thoughts about them going forward and the offseason, getting ready for 2014, and North Dakota State and Towson. We'll get into that when we come back in about 2. And Jack Daniels, stay right there. We're coming right back.
We are worldwide, 365 and 24/7 at Soundoff123013. Soundoff1230 is presented by Jack Daniels Bar and Grill at Lauberge Casino Resort and by Tarver Ford Sulphur. Back after this break.
Dr. Cassio was my choice.
Dr. Cassio is my choice.
Dr. Cassio was my choice.
Dr. Brett Cassio is fellowship trained and board certified in both orthopedics and sports medicine. He has the tools, techniques, and experience to get athletes back on the field of play. Call 337-494-4900.
Dr. Brent Cassio is the official sports medicine physician of Soundoff 60.
Philip, you guys have been here for 4 years. Why is Tarver Ford doing so well?
Judge, we have a great team with a great passion to win every customer that gives us a chance. Our people are enthusiastic and prepared, our inventory is busted at the seams, and we're discounting prices and giving good money for trades to make deals happen.
Well, it must be working because I see the blue Tarver Ford tags everywhere. But how do you keep customers?
We want customers for life. So at Tarver Ford, every new vehicle includes complimentary lifetime oil changes.
Let us show you how a great team serves its customers a first-class experience.
At Tarver Ford, exit 21 Sulphur.
If you've got your crew in Miller Lite, you've got Miller time.
Hey, can we get a round of Miller Lite?
Sorry, just ran out. Something else?
Come on, really?
But what if one of your crew is Chuck Liddell?
Hello? We don't have a reservation. Right this way. Welcome. Welcome. Sure wish we could play. Here you go. Here. Thank you. Thanks. We'd like to use flash photography.
That's not a problem.
We'd like to ride a dolphin. We'd love to stay closer.
It's not just a good time, it's Miller time.
All right, welcome back to Jack Daniels. We got Louis Gazzolo-Cerro here for about another half hour. Hope you're enjoying the show. Happy New Year's ahead of time. It's our Holiday Week show, part 2. I already told you about New Year's Eve here at Jack Daniels. Mark it down on your calendar. Coming up Valentine's Day, there would be Valentine's Day 2014, Boys to Men in concert here at Lauberge at the Concert Special Event Center, Boys to Men. How many CDs have you got of there?
Pretty much all. I got absolutely none.
Come on, follow.
I don't even have a
Help
CD.
me out here.
That may be a concert I'll be at.
Huh?
That may be a concert I'll be
Boys,
at.
yeah, Valentine's Day. Take the lady friend.
Bring back a Sinatra. And
yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's get on. FCS, North Dakota State in Towson. Saturday in Frisco for the FCS National Championship. I saw bits and pieces I saw a lot of the North Dakota State against New Hampshire. So a little bit of their other one. It's a machine.
Well, Towson's got the running back, but North Dakota State has everything else.
It's a machine.
Yeah. And they're going to win, especially with that quarterback. They're going to win. They're going to win big. They're going to win 3 in a row. It'd be hard for me to believe they're not going to win. The question that I have and we talked about this before, and I've written about it, is I used to think the FCS mattered until I started to see some of the crowds. And I think the FCS has really hurt itself by pushing its national championship game back into bowl week. It gets lost in the luster of all the big bowls. It used to be able to be separated before Christmas. It had its own place. It had kind of its own, okay, we're done, our playoffs is done, now let the big boys go. Now it's lost with them. It's stuck in the middle, and I think that's one of the reasons why we saw 5,000 people at the East football game for the playoff.
And as we were talking about earlier, I think it was either on Christmas or another day, I watched all the bowl games, and of like 4 or 5 bowl games, only one was enjoyable. There was only one game on TV that was any good. And so when if you have an FCS championship at the same time as those, people might want to watch because it's high level competition. Whereas once you start going past New Year's, you're competing with BCS bowls now, the glamour bowls that everybody has been waiting to see. And the NFL playoffs.
Well, that's true, but if they market it right, I'm big in the messaging. I'm big in promotion. I'm big in marketing it right. There is an argument to be made for the FCS game January 4, the Saturday before the FBS, BCS, whatever championship game. The timing of it is kind of symmetrical. It's there. It's right before. Granted, they're going to be competing against NFL, that kind of thing.
We heard the same thing when we heard the NCAA want the women right next to the men. It gets lost. It just gets lost in the hype.
All right. So before we get on the Cowboys part of this discussion, are you saying that the FCS is it should be what? No, it's done away with? Or
no, it's becoming less relevant compared to the bowl games that are now.
But they're showing the FBS how to do it. The playoffs can work.
But the fans are showing them how not to do it by not going. Look, there's 56,000 people who went to watch Tulane play ULL in New Orleans. There's 5,000 that went to see McNeese play for the
let's
first
get
time.
on. All right. You said it was because of what? The FCS being played. That's not why 5,000 people showed up at that game.
There's no LSU game against it. Why not? Because it was cold?
Yeah.
It was cold.
Because they're lazy. They didn't want to bundle up. Bottom line, the fans got lazy.
It was 25 degrees. It
was very cold. It was miserable.
It did not rain that night.
It was miserable, but they didn't. They should have showed up, and they didn't.
They didn't.
And as crazy as this sounds, if there was a bowl title attached to it, you might have seen more fans there.
You might have seen it.
I brought up the comparison to Semi-Pro. I know it's just a movie, but in the last scene of Semi-Pro, their last game, they called it like the Flint, Michigan Bowl or something like that. And it got the whole crowd, the whole town captivated, and the gym was full, where it hadn't been full the whole time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's that name as much as we make fun of the bowl.
Let me read between the lines, gentlemen. So what you're purporting then, what you're laying out on the table is McNeese should get out of FCS, should go to the lower level of FBS and give it all up and be like ULL. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying it needs to be looked into for one reason.
Why?
Because it seems to be the formula that's working. Here's the problem that's being laid out for you right now. If you there is talk that the 5 big conferences want to exit.
Yes, of course.
If they leave,
and I think it'll happen.
Okay, if they leave, and then the Sam Houstons and all them say, we're going, Lamar, we're going to go up. Is McNeese have to go up, or are they going to sit there and play, we'll play Nichols 3 times a year? Right. You can't be stuck with Nichols. You're the premier program in the conference, and you've been left behind by ULL.
What conference? The Southland?
Yes. You were the premier, the former bell cow.
They're in the top 2 to 3.
Not now, but of the history.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You were the program.
Right.
You were ahead of ULL. You were ahead of Monroe. You were ahead of some of these guys. Now suddenly you're behind them. They had a 3-week marketing plan for their school to get into the bowl game. They had a 3.5-hour infomercial on ESPN about their school, their university, their town.
Right. You're right.
McNeese got none of that.
Right. I agree.
Now, what's the difference? And yeah, it takes a whole commitment, and they may not be able to do it. But you better look at that, or you're going to be stuck. As I say, you're going to be stuck without a chair when the music stops.
I'm with you on that to a degree. Bottom line, Cowboys should stay FCS, or should they have a plan to follow UL Monroe and UL Lafayette?
They should have a plan, because at the end of the day, I think that even though you can argue, that championship pedigree and that they're the gold standard of the Southland Conference, people see the bowl games on ESPN and ESPN2. Yeah.
All right, let me interrupt then. If I recall, what do you want to be? You want to be like Monroe and Lafayette and have 2 home games? 3 home games?
That's the issue.
That's a cross you're going to have to bear, possibly.
Well, your basketball team's doing it.
Oh, well, to a degree.
Yeah.
To a degree.
You're right.
All right, so I don't know if the local fans that follow football are going to want that.
What I want to see is I think you can solve this problem all the ways around with this. It's going to take a lot of parties to get together. If the split comes and you're stuck with what you're stuck with, you go play Lafayette, Monroe, Lamar, Tulane, Rice, and you see as you start getting some rivalries back, you'll start seeing the crowds grow. Right now, what is Central Arkansas comes in here, there's no history of a rivalry.
Right.
You need to bring some of that back.
Look, Jim, I'm with you on that because I covered them years ago. I covered all those games. I know the history, and I'm with you on that. But McNeese can't flip the switch.
No.
And all of a sudden think they're going to compete on the Monroe and Lafayette level. Let's not kid ourselves. We like the blue and gold.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
I don't know if they can beat the red and white.
And I'm not sure their fans are patient enough to say we're going to wait to 10, 15 years. ULL did.
I don't know.
I was just going to say it would take time. It would take possibly 10 to 15 years, but would the end result, would it pay off in the end?
Where are you going to be in 15 years either way?
Exactly.
And then comes the bigger question: how much are you going to pay your coaches?
Money. We're going to come back to that. Money and what the Cowboys need to do in the offseason to get ready for 2014. We got more NFL stuff. What was it? 5, 6 coaches fired in the NFL today?
That's
no big shocks. We're coming back in 2. Stay right here.
Jack Daniel's Bar and Grill at Lauberge Casino Resort, home of Soundoff123013, and Tarver Ford in Sulphur. Give us a chance to earn your business. Round 5 with the boys coming up.
Get your free American Press app today. It's all at your fingertips. News, sports, advertising, entertainment, and video delivered through your Apple or Android mobile device. Capture the informative power of the American Press, Southwest Louisiana's premier source for news and advertising. Get your American Press app today. Download it for free through your iTunes or App Store. You'll love the look and feel of our newest digital offering. The app flawlessly delivers the local news most important to you in a new, striking layout. Get your American Press app today.
Philip, you guys have been here for 4 years. Why is Tarver Ford doing so well?
Judge, we have a great team with a great passion to win every customer that gives us a chance. Our people are enthusiastic and prepared, our inventory is busted at the seams, and we're discounting prices and giving good money for trades to make deals happen.
Well, it must be working because I see the blue Tarver Ford tags everywhere. But how do you keep customers?
We want customers for life. So at Tarver Ford, every new vehicle includes complimentary lifetime oil changes.
Let us show you how a great team serves its customers a first-class experience.
At Tarver Ford, exit 21, Sulphur.
All right, welcome back to the show. Happy New Year early. It's getting ready for 2014 here at Soundoff60. Kevin and Scooter should be back next week if they don't get bogged down in Tampa doing something. LSU, I don't know. Now, the BCS, no, I won't. The BCS National Championship game is Monday. It would be Monday. It would be Florida State and Auburn. We will probably, I got to make an executive decision. We'll probably not have the Soundoff60 show do our normal Monday tape. We'll probably do it on Tuesday because it's hard to compete with the Seminoles and Tigers, doggone it. So we're going to probably do it on Tuesday here at Jack Daniels and do the post-game wrap-up of the big BCS National Championship game. We'll get our predictions in the last segment on that as well. All right. So Hobbs and Guidry, if we want them back, they'll be back next week. Unless you guys just want to say, hey, stay in Florida, we'll have fun, we'll do it all over again. All right, back to the McNeese Cowboys. All right, you asked me during the break where I stand. All right, where I stand, I don't normally do this. I got one leg on one side and one leg on the other. Okay, I really do, because to your point, it's gonna take. You're not gonna hit that switch. It's gonna take some time. I don't even know what the NCAA rules are in regards to that whole stadium thing. I think you get an exemption or whatever. It used to be like you have to be able to sit 30 or 35,000.
Well, the reason is that they changed that at all when the split comes. If the split comes,
there you go.
I don't know if it'll be changed or not.
Right, so it's going to take money. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. They need more money now.
They need money now.
They need money now. They need to get some big boosters to pay these coaches more.
Coaches is the issue.
And look, I'm off on a tangent here. I had a conversation kind of off the cuff with Bruce Hempfield, the new AD. And bottom line, I go to the Lamar game, I'm freezing my tail off too. I mean, the Lamar. And I said, Bruce, what did you notice when you walked into that stadium? And he looked at me and says, I think we noticed the same thing. I mean, that scoreboard, just the whole entertainment standpoint of that scoreboard was amazing. And I hadn't been to Lamar Stadium since the whole changeover. And McNeese doesn't have that.
No.
And that's what takes money. I don't know what it is. I think Bruce threw a figure, I don't know, it could be $800,000. I don't know what it is, maybe $500,000 to have a scoreboard like that. But they need it.
They do need
because
it.
When you go to Lamar and see little old Lamar with that kind of scoreboard and that kind of video and all that bells and whistles, and the Cowboys are looking at something that they used back in 1995. I mean, there's a difference.
The Cowboy Nation, as they call themselves, believes in last year. They believe that it's going to come around again. They believe that it's their turn to a lot of extent. The reality is the game's changed. Yeah. Your entertainment dollar has changed here. It's changed everywhere else. Right. They need to get the entertainment dollar. Then they need to find ways to pay their coaches. And because you have a coaching staff that makes less money than Lamar by almost half.
Right.
Yet Lamar guys have done nothing to win.
Right.
And Matt Viator has won more games than anybody. So
give them credit for sticking around and doing the work that they've done with that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Give them a lot of credit. I do.
Well, I guess this is my question. How do you raise that money then?
That's the issue. Where does the money come from? Do you dig into boosters? Mm-hmm. Do you find a pro? This is the issue that, clearly basketball has to go out. Look at what their schedule is. They have to go out and they have to basically rent every game they play.
Right.
Just to make things happen. But is that a product of a bad area for basketball, or is it a product of a bad facility 4, 5, 6 miles away from your fan base?
Right.
I mean, what comes first? What do you have to build to get it going? We were told if they win, people will come out. Well, they won, and nobody came out for that game. So therefore, winning isn't the only answer.
The Cowboys, the playoff game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So winning isn't the only answer. Do you have to win consistently then? Do you have to be in the top 5? I mean, there has to be some formula. Or is there just not enough money to be spent in the town?
Well, look,
is that going to be the issue?
Money is hard to raise. All right, it is hard to raise. I think Hempfield is the guy that can do it, but you got to give him time. All right, that's where Tommy McClellan. I don't think he worked the industry and worked that type of the industrial base hard enough to get that money.
He was big. He was big picture. He did not work on the local financing. He did not do the grassroots.
I agree.
That Bruce Hempel has to do.
All right, so back on the field, Seth. During the offseason, put on the Viator hat. What are you doing in the offseason?
I'm looking for some big boys. I'm looking for some big boys because in the 3 games that they lost, there was a common theme. They were out physical, I guess, for lack of better words, especially Northern Iowa and Southeastern. That was the word that everyone had, was that those teams were just physical, especially when it came
Southeastern
to the
was big too.
Yeah, when it comes to the McNeese's wide receivers versus those defensive backs, they were getting jammed at the line. Right. They couldn't get off. It threw off Cody's timing, and it showed in the scoreboard.
Pound the receivers. They got to get bigger receivers, stronger receivers, and they also got to find a quarterback now. And they got to find a consistent quarterback that can run not only a passing game but also help out in the running game. Mm-hmm. They were fairly one-dimensional when it came to his abilities.
Yes, of course.
They could run the ball a little bit, but when they got against physical teams, especially physical secondaries, they got pushed around.
Well, no, I think the McNeese could run the ball more than a little bit. They had a 1,000-yard rusher.
They
can run more than a little bit.
Yeah.
Cody couldn't run at all.
That was the issue.
I mean,
and Matt Viator likes to have the option of the quarterback in his running game.
Yeah, what was it, 2 years ago? Riley Dodge come in from North Tech. I mean, just the whole anticipation of having his wheels and then unfortunately the concussion against Southeastern, I think it was, and then it was very short-lived. But here's what I think should happen. I don't know if Matt's going to do this. I said it a couple of weeks ago. He needs to go out, and he needs to open it up, and he needs to get an FBS transfer here at quarterback, at receiver, and at the safety position. I really do. You're losing your two top safeties, Bronson and Caden. Okay, quarterbacks of the defense, if you will. Your receivers, we know what they lost. I mean, Celesti, all of them guys are great guys, but they're all, 5'10", 5'9".
Well, they do have some bigger freshman receivers, but they didn't play much, so we'll see how they develop.
I thought Gladley would show me a little bit more than what he did, but maybe he needs a little bit more seasoning.
And they have a kid from New Orleans that was on the team. He was probably their tallest receiver. He was about 6'3". He had to sit out this year due to academic reason, but they look a lot. They look for a lot from him in the future. And you only think if they had somebody like him, a little bit more physical than someone like a Celestine or a Spencer, maybe against a Northern Iowa or a Southeastern, they fare a little bit better.
Yeah, you're right. They could really use some dropbacks.
Yeah,
some guys coming down to help.
And no, this is not a knock against the quarterbacks they have on. It's not of Tyler Bofing. I like what I saw in very limited play. But if you're that close, and if you think that you got this engine going in the right direction, he's got, and I like a drop back quarterback. I don't like a guy that's running all over the place. But my mind is, you said it, the game is changing. You got to get a little help, and Bofing might be the guy. We just didn't see enough of it.
Especially on that level, because you take that level on the bigger schools level, you have more athletes on the field.
Yeah.
If you can get an athlete at quarterback, you can contain the other athletes on defense. So there may only be one or two guys that can run with him.
Right.
And now you spread the offense and you can get away from that guy. Where it's a little harder to do on the higher level, it's easier to do on this level.
Did you see the same thing I saw in North Dakota State? Okay, yeah, they got a great quarterback. They got a machine going up there. They're big. They're strong. But what I saw was playmakers at a lot of different spots. McNeese has a playmaker here and here and here, but they got them spread all over. Defense, offense, special teams.
Yes, they have playmakers all over the field, and I think that's what they really encountered with Northern Iowa, was they had playmakers all over the field. I don't know if they had a lot of NFL talent, but I think there's a lot of guys that will get practice.
They're not all American superstars.
Yeah,
but it's good in
for this level.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. Is for this level, you get a couple of those guys. You don't need 8 or 10 like you do at the FBS level. You just need a couple so you can spread the field and expose their non-athletes.
All right, so big picture before we go to break. All right, you got North Dakota State and Townsend up there in the national championship game. They're here. Where's McNeese?
Second tier.
I mean, is a gap like what we were talking earlier about the Big Ten and the SEC? Is it a huge
there is
gap?
with North Dakota State.
Right.
I mean, but that's the gap with everybody.
Yeah, they're not the only ones. McNeese isn't the only one.
There is, you look at Eastern Illinois, their jump in the last year and a half is a quarterback jump.
Yeah.
So you can do it in this league with one position if you get the right position.
I agree.
If you have the parts around him and you get the right guy coming in, but you better get the right guy to pull the trigger, because we saw what happens when you don't.
Southeastern.
Southeastern
Brian
has and they have and not only that, but they have a lot of division. They
have dropbacks and they have junior college.
Exactly,
yeah, you're right.
And so that's what really helps them. They get a lot of talented guys that couldn't fit in other places, and they come to Southeastern and it makes them all mesh.
This year, unless I'm mistaken, McNeese this year will have its first early entry in.
Mm-hmm.
Their first senior that's going to graduate early and get here. So that's starting to change kind of a philosophy around. And also, I think the biggest change he made this year was playing more people. When you play more freshmen show up to play.
You got you. All right, hold that thought. You ready for the girls? Are you ready for the Jack Daniels beauties? They're going to try to stump us. All right, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
They're coming, and they're coming strong. Back in 2, stay right here.
Soundoff 60 is presented by Tarver Ford Sulphur. Give us a chance to earn your business. And by Jack Daniels Bar and Grill at Lauberge Casino Resort.
Philip, you guys have been here for 4 years. Why is Tarver Ford doing so well?
Judd, we have a great team with a great passion to win every customer that gives us a chance. Our people are enthusiastic and prepared, our inventory is busted at the seams, and we're discounting prices and giving good money for trades to make deals happen.
Well, it must be working, because I see the blue Tarver Ford tags everywhere. But how do you keep customers?
We want customers for life. So at Tarver Ford, every new vehicle includes complimentary lifetime oil changes.
Let us show you how a great team serves its customers a first-class experience.
At Tarver Ford, exit 21 Sulphur.
Dr. Cassio was my my choice.
Dr. Cassio is my choice.
Dr. Cassio is my choice.
Dr. Brett Cassio is fellowship trained and board certified in both orthopedics and sports medicine. He has the tools, techniques, and experience to get athletes back on the field of play. Call 337-494-4900.
Dr. Brent Cassio is the official sports medicine physician of Soundoff 60.
If you've got your crew in Miller Lite, you've got Miller time.
Fellas, finally, you made it.
But what if one of your crew is Questlove?
Then we brought more Miller Lite. Cool. What do you guys want to hear?
What do you got?
Are you kidding me?
Round of Miller Lite from the ladies in the corner.
Hey, boys. You guys want to hit this house party? It's in Thailand. Yes.
It's not just a good time, it's Miller time.
All right, welcome back to Jack Daniels. We are going to break in the two new knuckleheads, that would be Jim and Seth, into Stump the Wise Guys. We would be the wise guys. Those are the lovely ladies of Jack Daniels. That would be Darby and Brittany, and they're going to try to stump us. All right, you ready? We have been unstumpable the last 6 months. I think we've only missed 2. Wow. So I got no clue.
That's
so
a lot of
come to the table. Newspaper boy, come to the table. Who's up first?
Me.
Darby, here we go.
All right. The Saints 0-5 road playoff record is well known. What team has beaten New Orleans the most in those road playoff games? Sorry, y'all.
The most. So they're 0-5 on the road. Who's beaten them the most?
And they lost to
Who's
Seattle.
beaten them the most?
They lost to Seattle, Chicago, San Francisco,
Minnesota.
Chicago.
Minnesota.
Chicago. Chicago's beaten them twice.
There you go.
So out of 5, so 2 out of 5 is a lot.
Yeah,
2 out of
that's-
5,
that's-
Chicago?
Chicago.
Here we go.
I'd be the Bears. That's where I'm from.
You're from Chicago. All right, here we go. Brittany.
All right. The Saints were 0-5 in playoff appearances before finally breaking through with a victory over what team to end their postseason losing streak?
Oh, I know this one. That's definitely the St. Louis
A long
Rams.
time ago. Yeah, I think he's right. I think he's right. St. Louis.
St. Louis Rams.
Yeah, what year is it?
2000.
Year 2000. Yeah, who's the
Hakeem
quarterback?
drops the ball. That was Aaron
Oh, that's
Brooks.
right. That's that punt. Was it Aaron?
Aaron Brooks. It was Aaron Brooks.
All right. We're on a roll. Darby, here we go.
What were the Saints' largest losing margin and the widest winning margin in the playoff games?
Holy moly.
I would think that the largest losing
Minnesota,
margin was the
wasn't it?
Minnesota game. They
I
got
don't know
their
what it was.
behinds kicked in that one.
Their largest victory?
It's probably the Arizona game.
Arizona.
Huh? I would go
A couple
with,
when they
or was
beat
it
up
the
on
Eagles?
Warner.
I got it.
Was it Arizona?
Arizona's
Arizona.
the winning and losing is Minnesota.
Yeah, but no clue in regard. I can't remember the score.
remember
Probably
the
in the
score.
Yeah,
mid-40s to
Minnesota's
more
ugly.
40s.
Yeah.
40s, but probably both in the 40s.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Brittany.
All right, last one, guys. What was the last #1 seed in the NFL playoffs to win the Super Bowl?
Setting you up. Come on. You got the crack mind. It came out in the coverage yesterday.
I think that's. Would that
Come
be
on. That'd be the Saints.
That'd be the Saints. I was about to say it had to be
It's
the
a trick
Saints.
question.
It's
Yeah.
themed questions. It's
Yeah.
Saints themed questions.
Yeah, See, young guy, TV guy, he's right on it.
I don't bleed black and gold.
Oh my God! Saints, right?
no.
2009, they were, and they
Yes,
won it. To the
okay.
Super Bowl. Ladies, we appreciate it. Darby,
you.
Brittany, as always, they tried. They tried hard. They didn't stump us. Way to fill in, guys. All right, BCS National Championship, Florida State, Auburn. #1 against #2. We'll get into the playoffs real quick. Who do you think's going to win this game?
I'm thinking Florida State. I think the SEC streak is going to stop here. And the main reason is because Florida State plays a brand of SEC football. They just happen to be in the ACC. They have a really tough defense. They have a really good running game. And Jameis Winston is just a very special player. And I think that Auburn, while they do deserve to be at the game for winning all of their games, 2 of those games against Georgia and against Alabama, that's probably 2 of the top 10 plays of the year.
Right.
And if any one little thing goes wrong, they're not sitting here today. So I'm going to go with Florida State in this one.
You stayed up late last night writing all that out, didn't you? Like a little promo for Florida State and Tallahassee. What the hell's going on here? No, what do you got?
I got Florida State basically because I think they have the athletes on defense to stop the run.
Yeah.
And they're really one of the few teams in the country that has enough athletes to match up on defense. So I think that's the biggest difference.
If you believe that their talent level is for real, okay? Because if you look at their schedule, I don't remember. They hadn't played anybody.
The Clemson is the only real game.
Clemson.
You're right.
They hadn't played anybody.
You're right,
So,
and that is the issue.
But they did handle business in every game they played.
Yeah, they did.
They
beat
handled
everybody
business
badly.
in every game
They beat
they
everybody
played.
badly. I'm going to go with you. I think the Seminoles will beat them, but I think it's going to be interesting. What I mean by interesting, it could swing on 1 or 2 plays, and it could be very close.
I could see if Auburn wins, it's going to be just like when they beat Oregon.
Yeah.
I think it'll be that way.
Our final minute, Saints at Philadelphia. Any chance?
Punter's chance.
Yeah.
If the Saints
Rocky thing,
if the Saints defense shows up, Philadelphia doesn't have the greatest record at home, and they're the newest team in the playoffs. So I think the Saints do
Run
have
the
a
ball,
chance.
get the ball to Colston, the Saints will win. I don't know beyond that. All right. Guys, appreciate it. Great show. Brought your A game. Seth Lewis, Jim Gazzola from the American Press, Mr. Lewis from KPLC TV, watching Monday through Friday, 6 and 10. They still got you
6
doing
and
that?
10, yeah.
Okay. Until next time, everybody, Happy New Year. Be safe out there. All right, we'll see you next time.
Soundoff 60 is presented by Tarver Ford in Sulphur. Give us a chance to earn your business. And by Jack Daniel's Bar and Grill at Lauberge Casino Resort. Soundoff 60 airs on Suddenlink Cable Channel 60 Monday through Sunday nights, 9 p.m. and again Saturday and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Soundoff 60 also airs throughout the week on Communicom Cable Channel 6 at 9 p.m. across Southwest Louisiana. Check your local listings. Post your questions and comments for the boys and access our website links at soundoff60.com.